What's up, guys? Today we are doing my installment of weekly grocery shop haul. We are at Stop & Shop. Stop & Shop is the 5th largest retailer of groceries in New York State. I don't regularly shop here, but I like to go to different grocery stores and highlight to you all the different options regardless where you like to grocery shop. But there are some things at Stop & Shop that they do particularly well, and that's what I really want to feature here. Obviously, we're going to be looking at lean protein options. We're going to be looking at healthy fats. We're going to be looking at foods rich in fiber. But there are certain things in particular like sauces. They have a really good low-calorie ice cream section here at Stop & Shop that I want to highlight in particular. I also have a special place in my heart for this location where I'm in Mamaroneck, New York, because they really are very encouraging of me shooting content here. So it's very easy to come in here and shoot content. We don't ever shoot content in places where we're not encouraged to shoot, but there are some places that are just friendlier and easier to shoot at. And this store is actually really pretty inside. So come with me. We're doing my weekly grocery shopping haul at Stop & Shop. Okay, starting off, we're in the produce section. This store in particular, it's really, really beautiful in here. We've shot a lot of our videos about fruit and vegetables in here because it just appears really, really good on camera. If you've been following me for a while, you know I'm huge on fruit and vegetables with each and every single meal. And the reason is because they are so high in antioxidants, which help fight diseases of aging. They're so high in fiber, which is correlated in reducing all symptoms of mortality. And also, they are very little calories for something that is very filling in your stomach. So you can eat, for example, a lot of broccoli for very little calories. When it comes to eating fruit and vegetables, you should be eating an array of different ones. And the reason for that is that different fruits and vegetables have different antioxidants and they have different micronutrients, so vitamins and minerals. I always get certain vegetables in my diet, always broccoli or asparagus. I always get berries in my diet. I always try to get some sort of citrus fruit, and I always have avocados in my diet. But really the best thing that you can do is just generic advisement is get an array of different fruit and vegetables. So first thing we're picking up today, raspberries, which I always get plenty of, and these are starting to get out of season, so they're getting more and more difficult to find. I actually don't have any at home currently. And then I'm gonna pick up blueberries. And the reason that I go with these two, raspberries and blackberries, I did not grab blackberries, I grabbed blueberries, but raspberries and blackberries, very, very high in fiber, and blueberries high in fiber, not as high as raspberries or blackberries, but also incredible for cognitive health. Come with me over here. Citrus fruits are very, very, very high in antioxidants, but we just bought oranges, so I have a ton of oranges at home right now, so I'm not gonna be picking those up, but that is something that I regularly purchase every time I go to the grocery store. Over to here, leafy greens. I always have some sort of leafy green in my diet. This is the ultimate example of a high volume food, meaning that you can eat a ton of it for very, very little calories. So for example, this thing of baby spinach, this entire container, doesn't show the calories on here, but I bet you this entire thing is about 60 calories, somewhere in that range. So sometimes when I get home, I'll have like a really big kale salad. I'll put some like canned mackerel on it. I'll put some chicken on it, and that'll be like my third meal of the day. And this is just incredibly filling and has a lot of micronutrients that are very beneficial to you. So that's the first three things that we're picking up today are those berries and some leafy greens. Broccoli, again, go-to staple of mine for dinner. Asparagus, those two are interchangeable for me. Some people fuck with Brussels sprouts. I'm not really a Brussels sprouts person, but that's something else that I'm very, very adamant about having in the evening just because they're so high in fiber. So we went over the produce aisle. I also want to talk about potatoes, whether it's red potatoes, yellow potatoes, sweet potatoes. This is an excellent carbohydrate option while on a diet. Potatoes are technically vegetables. Some people dispute their micronutrient value. Obviously, there's some magnesium, there's some antioxidants, but they're not as rich in nutrients as something like spinach or raspberries in terms of micronutrients. However, in terms of macronutrients, the carbohydrate, I think potatoes are one of the best options, especially when trying to get lean, for a carbohydrate source, for a fuel source for your body. So when I'm dieting, I'm in the midst of a cut, I eat a lot of potatoes because again, they're a high volume food. If you think about like a cup of rice, it's only a little bit of food with a lot of calories, where when it comes to potatoes, you could have a lot of potatoes for way less calories. So I love to incorporate potatoes into my diet, especially when I'm cutting down. Another technical fruit and vegetable is avocados. And the thing with avocados, they're the opposite of potatoes in the sense that these are definitely not a high volume food. In fact, they're very much a macronutrient dense food as well as a micronutrient dense food. But I still keep them in my diet because you've got fiber, you've got antioxidants, you've got a ton of micronutrients, and you have a high amount of healthy fats in it. So I incorporate these in my diet because they are such a powerful source of healthy fats, but I like to get them pre-portioned out. We had a baby crying, so we had to pause. Okay, these are the individual servings of either avocado or guacamole, 100 calories per container. It makes portioning guacamole or avocados much easier because again, they are so nutrient dense. But I love to incorporate potatoes and avocados in my diet, but I just think of them a little differently than most fruit and vegetables. Next, we're gonna go look at protein. When I'm selecting steak, it's always going to be a leaner cut because there's going to be enough saturated fat even when you're looking at a leaner cut of steak. So something like this grass-fed top sirloin, this is 130 calories with 26 grams of protein. Remember our protein test, we take the grams of protein, we add a 0 to it. Does it have that many calories or less? Then it passes our protein test. Again, 26 grams of protein, so 260 calories or less. This is 130 calories, so it obliterates our protein test. It has about 1 gram of saturated fat per serving. I'll have 2 servings of this. I'll still get 2 grams of saturated fat even while eating this lean cut of meat. So this is something that I would consider a lean protein source, or is considered a lean protein source, and also is a protein source that passes the test. You don't always need to buy grass-fed in order to do those things, but if you're looking at fattier cuts, things like ribeye, you almost certainly have to get grass-fed in that instance. You can get things like, for example, some filet mignons and some sort of like top sirloin. Those will still pass the test without being grass-fed. To me, the necessity of grass-fed, it can be a little pricey, so just do what's right for your budget, but you definitely want a leaner cut of steak when purchasing red meat or when purchasing any sort of beef. Scanning through over here, going through, looking at all the meats. I'm a big fan of ground turkey. I'm a big fan of ground chicken. I like to take it, mash it up. I like to put it with some potatoes. I like to put it with some vegetables. And I actually like to take a little bit of bone broth over top of it and just pour it on after it's cooked. It has like a really nice, like moist taste to it. Another thing that you can do with ground meat, especially when it's leaner, add onions and mushrooms, and that will add a lot of moisture to it. Because the biggest complaint I get about the leaner cuts of ground meat is that, Jake, it's too dry. Well, then either add something like bone broth or cook it with something like mushrooms and onions, which are really gonna help bring a lot of tenderness to the meat. So ground turkey, big enthusiast of it. I cooked this for my dog. I still do to this day. A lot of ground turkey. I add ground turkey. I add some eggs to it. I put some carrots, some peas in there, some sweet potatoes, some blueberries. That's what I cook my dog on a regular basis. And it's also something that I incorporate into my diet. Big staple, not surprising as well, chicken. I am team chicken thigh, but when I'm looking at the chicken thighs, I'm really making sure that they're lean chicken thighs. So what I do is I flip it around again. I look at the back of it. Here we have chicken thighs. Does that the calories? It does. 140 calories, 22 grams of protein. It's still going to have saturated fat. It's going to have 1 gram of saturated fat or 4.5 grams of total fat. You're still going to get fat even when having lean protein. And that's the thing you need to understand. If you're somebody like me who's eating a lot of protein, I'm eating 250 to 300 grams of protein right now on my diet. Well, if I eat enough of this, even when it's lean, I'm still gonna get enough fat, total fat, and saturated fat in my diet through eating this lean animal protein. I think when people think like, oh, I wanna have fattier cuts of meat or you need saturated fat, that's fine. If you were just a normal person who was only having like 1 animal source of protein a day, you might not get as much saturated fat as you technically need by doing that. But when you're somebody like me who's multiple times a day having animal protein, it's gonna all add up. And so that's why I'm looking for really lean cuts when I'm buying animal protein. We talked about grass-fed beef earlier and how it's a great option if you can afford it. It's not always necessary if you get a very lean cut of meat, something like a top sirloin. But if you're looking for something like a ribeye, it's really gonna help it stay nice and lean. And it is going to have a better fat profile and omega-3 than typical beef. When it comes to seafood, If you can't afford something like wild-caught salmon or even Norwegian farm-raised salmon, there are other options out there. Besides supplementation, which I do on top of eating seafood, canned sardines, canned mackerels. This is a great way to get omega-3s in your diet each and every single day while keeping the mercury content nice and low. So these are valid options if you are on a budget. Okay, where Stop & Shop truly shines is all of their condiments and all of their sauces. This place is where I stop when I need to stock up on sauces for dieting. And if you've been following me for a while, you know I'm huge on condiments, I'm huge on seasoning, because dieting can get very monotonous. How many times can you have fucking chicken? How many times can you have ground turkey? Well, if you want to be jacked, you're going to be having it a lot. So, the sauces that they have here that really shine, in my opinion, Walden Farms. This is a 0-calorie salad dressing, as well as they have some sauces and they have some syrups. I'm not as big on the sauces or the syrups, but I am very big on the dressings. People get very concerned about the ingredients in Walden Farms because it is 0 calorie. The first ingredient here is water. The second ingredient is apple cider vinegar, and the third ingredient is salt. I would tell you, put your primary emphasis when looking at food, first and foremost, macronutrients. Protein, carbs, and fats. That's what adds up to calories, and that is what's going to be responsible for body composition. Secondly, micronutrients. That's things like vitamins, minerals, antioxidants. When you select food, those should be the things that you're primarily looking for. Are there certain ingredients that are not good for you? Obviously, if something has fentanyl in it, if something has alcohol in it, those are concerned. Those are things that are actually hazardous to your health. But most ingredients, as long as they're in small dosages, you're going to be perfectly fine. This is something that I have in moderation in my diet from time to time, like when I have that spinach or kale salad, putting some of this vinaigrette on. Amazing option. Throw some walnuts on there, throw some of that canned mackerel on there. Got a powerhouse of macro and micronutrients for a salad for the afternoon. Continuing on with sauces here. Skinny Girl, they have both marinades and again, salad dressings that I really, really like. Primal Kitchen, I love a lot of their sauces. Some of them, they're just marketing. Their whole marketing ploy is, hey, just throw an avocado in the front of this. Flip it around, check the calories. This has 100 calories for 2 tablespoons. This is too many calories for a low-calorie condiment. I'm really looking for condiments that have 30 calories or less per tablespoon. So this has 50 calories. I would not use this on my diet. Typical salad dressings are just as good as this. But there are a lot of sauces that are amazing that Primal Kitchen makes. So just make sure that you look at the calories when buying Primal Kitchen. G. Hughes, another great brand. This is like the king of like low-calorie salad dressing, sauces, barbecue sauces, ketchup. I like all of their products. G. Hughes is one of my favorite condiments for me, who's somebody who really cares about what I eat. Continuing down here, we've got ketchup. I actually a lot of times end up buying no added sugar ketchup because it's about half the calories, but that's unnecessary. If you just like regular ketchup, just simply have regular ketchup. G. Hughes makes a sugar-free ketchup. It's about 5 calories, so I believe it's 1/4 the calories. Yeah, it's 1/4 the calories of traditional Heinz, and it's actually even half the calories of no sugar added Heinz. This ketchup, I'm a Heinz enthusiast. I'm a big believer if it's not Heinz, it's not ketchup. However, G. Hughes actually has a spicy ketchup. It's a little bit more liquidy. It doesn't have quite the same texture as traditional ketchup. However, it is really spicy, and with the right kind of food, it's fire. I probably would go with something like traditional ketchup if I was like dunking fries in it just because of the consistency. But if you're putting this on like a burger, oh my God, and it's spicy and delicious. Mustard, we've got mustards over here. Almost all mustards are low-calorie condiments, so this is an amazing option when you're dieting. The old bodybuilder staple condiments have always been hot sauce and mustard. G. Hughes sauces here, same thing again as Primal Kitchen. In general, G. Hughes is really, really good, but some of these sauces that they have, like this clucking sauce, it's 100 calories. I do not consider this a low-calorie condiment. Most of G. Hughes, phenomenal, but some of them, they're a little high in calorie. Other barbecue sauces, they're like 10 calories, 5 calories per tablespoon or per 2 tablespoons. That's another thing when looking at condiments. Make sure that you look at the serving size. Is it 1 tablespoon or 2 tablespoons when you're doing the math? Make sure the math is mathing when you're looking at condiments. I will tell you, as good as G. Hughes barbecue sauces, and I particularly like the, I believe it's called, here it is, the Carolina style barbecue sauce. That's my favorite. That has the least erythritol taste to it, which is a sweetening agent that can kind of taste a little metallic at the end. As good as G. Hughes is, this no sugar added Raise is absolute fucking fire. And this is 15 calories per 2 tablespoons. This is my favorite barbecue sauce. I'm sorry, G. Hughes, but this is the best. But again, there's a ton of awesome G. Hughes products that are all really good. Steak sauce in general, another one that passes the test. We already talked about it. Hot sauce, great option. In general, teriyaki, another great option. Has a little bit high in sodium, so that might freak you out if you get on the scale the next day. So if you're getting ready for a photo shoot, something like soy sauce or teriyaki sauce might be a bad decision, but otherwise, those are great options on a diet. Just always look at the back of the label and make sure that it's 30 calories or less per tablespoon. We're gonna move on from sauces, and I'm gonna show you my second favorite thing here at Stop & Shop, and we'll be done shopping for the day. Now we're in the ice cream section here at Stop & Shop. While we were walking, Monty, the videographer, my videographer, awesome dude, asked me, hey, why wouldn't you wanna have soy sauce before a photo shoot? Because any sort of sodium is gonna cause water retention. It's not a big deal day in, day out, but if you're getting ready the next day and you wanna be shredded, or you're like getting ready to go on the beach, or you're getting ready to weigh in the next day because you're trying to lose weight, that could throw things off. Just any kind of sodium, any kind of water retention could throw off a weigh-in or something like that. So that's why I'm saying be mindful of soy sauce. Like if you went out for sushi the night before and you weigh in the next day and you're like, oh, I didn't lose any weight. You might be losing fat, but you might be holding on to some water because of the soy sauce and any form of sodium. So let's look at our ice cream options here. We've got St. Nick's. This is a goodie. It's one of my favorite options. It's a low-calorie ice cream option. I like them. They're not my favorite, but they're a good one. Halo Top, the OG, and like I said, Stop & Shop has a great ice cream section. Pumpkin pie, it's a limited flavor. Look at this, caramel cheesecake. I've never even had this. Wow, very cool. We've got chocolate vanilla twist. Wow, just a ton of flavors here at Stop & Shop. That's one of the things I really appreciate about them. So that's all their Halo Top. That's their St. Nick's. Coming over here, we've got our Yasso. I'm not a big fan of these Yasso fruit flavors. It just doesn't do it for me. But of course, I love cookie dough. I love cookies and cream. I love coffee chocolate chip. Those are all amazing flavors. And then we're over to here. This bar, oh my God. This freaking chocolate peanut butter by Enlightened, fantastic. This is one of my favorite low-calorie bars on the market. And that is my tour of Stop & Shop, guys. If I didn't have to continue on with my day, the rest of that I'm gonna throw in a refrigerator, right? I'm not gonna be able to throw that in a freezer. I would pick that up right now because those bars are banging. Guys, if you like what you saw today, please hit subscribe. We put out one long format piece of content each and every single week. I'm doing at least once a month, my weekly grocery shopping haul. If you don't follow me on Instagram, that is where the majority of my following is. I have like 260 something thousand followers on Instagram, a decent following on TikTok, but that might go away come the new year, and YouTube, which I always enjoy shooting long format content, and I hope you enjoyed watching it. Thanks for tuning in. Again, hit like, hit subscribe, and thanks so much, guys. I hope this was helpful. How to shop at Stop & Shop, the 5th largest retailer here in New York.